So, welcome back. We are going to be finishing up with our book, Arthur's Bad News Day, today. Last time we only read up to page 8, and when we left off, Arthur thought that having a baby was the worst news in the world. Now, I wanted to talk about the word prediction. A prediction is when you use clues to guess what will happen. None of us know for sure what is going to happen, right? I might say, okay, the sky looks gray, it's cloudy out, I think it might rain. But until it actually starts raining, those clouds could always blow away. You can't know for sure, but it's when you make an educated guess based on clues. So our clues from this story were that Arthur was an only child. He does not want a baby. But it's happening anyway, right? And so I need to, sometimes if we can make a prediction, it makes us interested in finishing the book so that we can check and see if we were right. So I'm predicting, so a lot of times when you read books, they have happy endings, right? And so I'm thinking that maybe in the end, Arthur will wind up liking the baby. And I'm thinking that maybe when he sees her, she's going to look just like he did as a baby. I know that sometimes that happens, and people like people who look like him. This is just a guess, just a prediction. So I'm saying that maybe she will look the same as him. I want you to take a second, and you can pause if you need to make your own prediction. Do you think in the end, is he going to like his sister or not? And why? So you might say, yeah, you know what, I think Mrs. Costa is right. Or you might say, I think he's going to like her, but I think he's going to like her because she only stops crying for him. Or I think he's going to like her because he gets to feed her her first bottle. Or I think he's really not going to like her because she's going to cry all night. Or he's not going to like her because she is going to get all his parents' attention. You're going to come up with your prediction before you finish reading the book. Okay? Once you have your prediction, and don't change it before the end of the story, just so you're right. It's okay to have your prediction be incorrect. So we left off on page 8. So when we start today, we are going to be looking at page 9. And he talks about how he's been an only child and the focus of all the attention. So find that word focus. When we think of focus, normally we think of like zooming in and looking at something clearly. And that's kind of what this means. His parents only focus, zoom in on him. Now, on page 10, he uses this big word to tell how he thinks his house is going to be. Overcrowded. And what I'm going to do is look for parts of this word that I know to help me read it. So over, I know is over. Cr is going to be crowd. Well, if something is crowded, that means there's a lot of people there. So if it's overcrowded, that means there's just way too many people there. So he thinks that a baby is going to make his house overcrowded. Poor kid. Turn the page. On page 11, he shares with us that he's actually going to have to share his bedroom with the baby. And I could see why that might be a little bit upsetting. And on page 12, he says that he thinks he should tell his parents to return her. Find that word return. It has the R-E prefix at the beginning, return. And if you return something, if you return a shirt to the store, you bring it back. So can you just return a baby to the hospital? It's not really how it works, is it? Once you get them, and you can't just bring them back. So I don't think that idea is going to work. And so while he's having these thoughts, his parents are actually at the hospital having the baby, and they're bringing her home. Now on page 13, he talks about what they bring her home in. And he says it's a B-U-N would be bundle. A bundle is like a package, right? A bundle of ridiculous. R-I-D-I-C-U-L-O-U-S. If something is ridiculous, that means it's like out of control, weird, not okay, right? Ridiculous. A bundle of ridiculous pink blankets. Still doesn't sound like he's super excited. And Grandma's rushing out. Grandmas love babies. We know that. And it says that Grandma does this. Something her head. Now we know that in the word right, we have a W-R and the W is silent. Same thing with this word. When you have that W-R together, the W is silent. So this is going to be wriggles. Wriggles. Wriggles means almost the same as wiggles. Okay? It's when you kind of move yourself. Wriggles. So Grandma wriggles her head inside the blanket and tells Dad that the baby is, let's look at this G word on page 14. G-O-R-G-E-O-U-S. I don't know the whole word, but I can at least break it with my finger and read the first part. Grandma tells Dad that the baby is gorgeous. Somebody is gorgeous. That means they're beautiful. They're nice to look at. And then it says, suddenly Mom is hugging me in a tight embrace. If you don't know what the word embrace means, that's okay. You can use something called context clues to help you figure it out. That means you read the other words around it and they might tell you. So it says, suddenly Mom is hugging me in a tight embrace. So if she's hugging you in a tight embrace, then she's giving you a hug. Okay. And Dad's putting the baby in his lap. We are not going to look at the last page because I don't want to spoil whether or not your prediction was correct. But you are going to go back to page 9. Start on the word now. You are going to be reading pages 9 through 16. And then your template that you fill in and submit to me is going to be about what your prediction was, what happened in the end, and were you right? Were you all the way right? Were you partially right? And you know, what happened in the story. And I will give you feedback on that.